There we go. Pretty good fish there. Come on in here. Wow. That's a magnum spot. Look at that thing. Woo. Look at that spotted bass. Look at that thing. Hey fishing friends, welcome back to eFishin. I'm Rodney. Today, well, we're going to tie this little finesse jig that a couple folks asked for from the Green River video when we were down there fishing finesse jigs back in December. So, finesse jigs have this kind of flared out cut on them like this. This jig we were fishing down there on Green River, it's a little different one. I grew up fishing this cut in East Tennessee. Let's get to it. It catches a few fish, so let's tie it. All right, let's get started. So down here, we got a 3/16 ounce snooty jig in the vise. We just got some thread, red thread in the bottom. We're just going to start by wrapping this on the collar here. And that just gives the silicone something to bite to. All we're going to do is take one tab, about 20 strands here, and this is just root beer. You could use any color you want, but we'll lay it down here on the jig and make sure that this part right here extends past the hook. And then we're going to take our thread, we're just going to do a light loop or two around the jig. So this is where you just want to adjust it a little bit and make sure that you have that your silicone is evenly spread around your jig. So we're going to take a minute here and look at this, and then we'll go on to the next step. Now you're probably saying this is kind of like a regular jig tie. Well, it is, but here comes the difference in this finesse cut that you don't see a lot. All right, now that we've got this all fixed up, we're going to give this a couple of good turns here, and then we're going to work our thread up towards the head here, because we're going to need that. So once we've got it that far, we're just going to take this silicone and we're going to pull it back this way. We're going to make sure we don't have it caught up in any of our wire guards here. If we do, we're just going to work that around. Kind of like that. Now the reason we work the thread up towards the head is because we've pulled this back. And we're just going to take our thread, we're going to come around a couple of good hard turns here, and then we're going to inspect it just to make sure we got coverage all over our jig. And once we do that, this one's real easy. We're just going to keep tying this thing down. So we got a good amount of thread on there to hold it. Then all we got to do now is tie a knot. And you know me, I like to use a piece of fishing line. So we'll take our fishing line and we're going to lay it on there, kind of like this. And we're just going to give it about 15 or 20 good wraps around it for this knot. It's a lot like tying a rod guide on. There we go. And we'll just cut our thread. And then we're going to take our little tag end, pass it through that loop. Then we're going to finish our knot out there. And then we'll just cut the excess off flush. And there we go. We've got our jig. Now all we got to do is cut these ends. Cut that off. And then cut that off like that. And look at there. we've got ourselves a nice little finesse jig. We'll just fix our wire guards back to where they're on there. Now, what I like to do, I like to take the skirt, and I don't want to leave all of this down here. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but I don't generally like to do that. So I'll just take it and hold it kind of like that right there, and then just sometimes just take a thing and do a little triangle cut like that, and that leaves those skirts a little different lengths down there. There we go. There's our jig. So to finish our little jig off here, I like to use one of these suckers right here. It's just a Zoom tiny chunk, and I'll just take that thing, hook it on there, kind of like that right there. And we've got a little ultralight finesse jig, and this thing's real good when it's cold. It's good in creeks too, because you know there's a lot of little crawdads in creeks, and that little sucker right there will mimic it. It's also good on your highland reservoirs. So when you need a really ultra finesse deal, you know, you don't want to cause a lot of commotion, you got pressured bass or whatnot, that right there is your jig. There we go. And come on up in here. All right, how about that? Pretty good one. Come here. Look at that. On the old jig. How's that one? Best one of the day so far. How about that? Woo-hoo. Look at that. How about that? Nice fish. Here we go. Here we go. Let you go, man.